Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and there's some massive quantities of XRP moving around as of late. Here's a headline from You Today. That's a crypto media outlet. 50 million XRP sent between large crypto exchanges, Japanese BitBank involved. Now, part of the reason that this is catching people's attention is that Binance has been rumored as of late to be perhaps trialing on-demand liquidity. Now, CZ, the founder of and CEO of Binance, has not been wishy-washy about whether or not he ultimately wants to utilize on-demand liquidity. The firm answer is yes, it's just a matter of time. And there's some indicators recently, and I'd covered it on a previous video, maybe, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, that there's some indication that perhaps they're already trialing it in secret, and it involved BitBank. And so with these, at least one of these recent transactions, it's got people questioning, is Binance involved in some capacity? So I'll be running through this, and I've also got this story that I just found fascinating, which I'll share towards the end of the video. Bitcoin signals spreading across Reddit, reports crypto analytics firm. And it has to do with tracking how frequently the word bullish is used. So just something that I found a little fascinating. But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you're a fan of the concept of Binance ultimately utilizing on-demand liquidity, meaning XRP is a bridge currency, real-world utility, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. You ain't got nothing to lose here. So I want to do a quick refresher because, again, this does ultimately lead to the question, is Binance in some way involved? So here's a story from January 31st this year, and I'll be quick on this. I just want to make sure I properly set the table. But this was titled, XRP On-Demand Liquidity Flows Trialed by Binance? Community assumes so. Binance and Ripple are two companies who have both been expanding aggressively as of late. In September of 2019, Binance banned all U.S. users from its trading platform and set up its North American branch, Binance.us. Ripple and its partner MoneyGram have actively an increase in the number of corridors to send XRP based on Ripple's platform on-demand liquidity. There are already several fully functioning corridors, but now it seems that Binance.us is testing 2 more, another corridor to Mexico and a brand new one to Japan, and that's the one that's catching people's attention again as of late, by the way. Now, in a recent tweet, startup investor and crypto fan Eric Dadun stated that Binance could be trialing XRP on-demand liquidity flows. It's too early to confirm, he writes. However, Dadun pointed out that a partnership between Ripple and Binance would be obvious since both are seeking expansion in the crypto market. Another dedicated Twitter account, at Tenatoshi, which often posts data on Ripple and XRP, has also published a post about the possible pilot payments of Binance.us using on-demand liquidity. And you can see here's the part at the bottom where they do talk about BitBank. So, and they did show, for those of you driving, don't worry about it, they show the tweets on the screen with some information, but the piece states here, and this is the part I wanted to cover before moving on to the one from today. The first one is between Binance.us and Mexican crypto exchange Bitso, which, of course, is also a partner of Ripple and MoneyGram, trades XRP paired with MXN, Mexican peso. The second one is between Binance.us and Japanese BitBank, and so, again, that's exactly why people are thinking about perhaps Binance being involved today, because here's the headline from today. 50 million XRP sent between large crypto exchanges, Japanese BitBank involved. Now, here we go. So the XRPL Monitor bot has reported several massive XRP transactions that total 50 million XRP, worth about $13.7 million at the time of recording here. And they have this little subheading here, Ripple's milestones in 2020 so far. This year, Ripple has already made a few major moves. Brad Garlinghouse mentioning a possible IPO this year, though later on he stated he was largely misunderstood. Yeah, he did kind of state that in that video, the most recent interview with Julia Chatterley, but I didn't misunderstand him. He basically said that there's going to be an IPO and it's a matter of time, right? I think that's a pretty fair summation of what he said. Anyway, it continues. And Brad Garlinghouse getting featured in an interview with CNN's Julia Chatterley for a second time. This may suggest that Ripple is the only crypto company so far that has been of interest outside the community. However, as reported by You Today earlier on Saturday, the head of Tron, Justin Sun, has also made it into the CNN studio for an interview. Besides, recently it was revealed that Ripple had been included into top 100 cross-border payment companies. I also reported on that. But here's the part with the 50 million. Since XRP is one of the most popular cryptocurrencies, large transactions made with it attract a lot of public attention. Yeah, that's no surprise, right? This time, XRP Monitor has spotted 4 transfers totaling 50 million XRP. And some of the exchanges involved here, it's Binance, Huobi, there's BitHum, and also BitBank. So how about that? And if you scroll down to the bottom here, you can see all of the transactions. Now, of course, to me, nothing could be more substantial than the adoption of exchanges in general, but certainly a notable one, Binance, because it just gets back to my entire investment thesis, which is that utility matters and will win the day. And I couldn't be more confident in how early we are, given the fact that people haven't figured out either that, or they haven't figured out, even if they figured out that concept matters, they haven't figured out which cryptocurrencies will have staying power based on utility. Now, to me, XRP, and this is not financial advice because I don't have a financial background or anything like that, but to me, it's an absolute no-brainer. As long as XRP continues to get used in the real world, there you go. It'll give people confidence to invest in it. All right? And, of course, there's other use cases for it as well. And the second one I'm most excited about, obviously, would be Coil, which has come with a new form of web monetization here. But this is why I love to keep tracking this stuff. And I think that's the concept of this, utility mattering to this degree. It'll be fun to look back in the coming years once it's more clear where the crypto asset class is going, where it ultimately ends up. I think in hindsight, it'll be clear that, of course, yes, those cryptocurrencies that are actually getting used, of course, they have staying power. But for many, especially with limited time in the day to research cryptocurrencies, given that there's over 5,000 of them, I can understand how, for some, it's difficult to get to the truth of the matter, and that's why I feel fortunate to have come across XRP when I did, and to have had the time to actually research it in depth from a fundamentals perspective, which is what I'm most interested in. And that's what I'll keep tracking. Now, take a look at this. There's a video, and I actually listened to it earlier today while I was walking my pet peeve, with my pet peeve being my 5-year-old terrier mix. I listened to this, so it's very recent. This is David Schwartz speaking at the Stanford Blockchain Conference here. And it was interesting. It was the first time that I think I've ever seen him without glasses. But it was a really interesting talk here. And he went through pretty in-depth about, and you can see he's on the screen there for a second there, because there's a little silent video clip playing on the screen. But he went pretty in depth about the origins, in terms of, at least time-wise, of when XRP Ledger was launched and why, explaining that, we came across Bitcoin, proof of work, and thought, there's some definite technological shortcomings, what's a better way to do this? And he went through, he was so articulate. And it's one of those things, like, for me, since I'm more on the fundamental side of what's getting, like, I'm high level, let's just say it like that. It's so fascinating to hear him so clearly articulate, and he's able to do that because he understands this so deeply. If you just listen through this, though, and again, the video I watched was about half hour. I'm going to share a link in the comments below. I think this one was 38 minutes, so maybe I watched a different one, but it's the same. It's the same speaking arrangement here. But, man, he's so thoroughly thought through what is important in terms of staying power and, just sustainability of a particular blockchain. And, again, from a technological perspective, what actually makes sense. And some of the stuff that he said, it just made me think back to the fact that, it's so speculative right now in terms of where money's flowing into the world of crypto. But in so many words, if I could paraphrase it like this, he's basically saying that, as things develop and we see where cryptocurrencies are actually solving problems, that will result ultimately, I think, in a shift in confidence in those that are currently investing in any degree in in any cryptocurrency. And so I think that's like just what I was saying a moment ago. I think that's the real utility. That's what's going to determine long-term viability here. So again, I will link this below. I encourage you to check it out if you have a half hour available here. And here's a tweet that I found fascinating, just came across in my Twitter feed from King Solomon. It's at XRP_OWL, who wrote this. Today is the first day in about a year that I've bought another digital asset besides XRP. I've used the bear market to accumulate XRP. Now my plan is to buy a handful of other tokens every other week to accumulate until this market really takes off. And it's fascinating. I thought I'd share this since I was already thinking along the lines of long-term viability of cryptocurrencies. Most of those coins, no doubt, will go away, but it's not, and I'm not offering financial advice, period, and actually all I buy to this date is XRP. I haven't bought another coin beyond XRP. I haven't bought anything else since 2017, so that's how quickly I shifted gears and was like, no, XRP could be used for something, XRapid, now known as on-demand liquidity, had not yet launched. And so I was like, I'm only going to put my money where I think there's actual usage here, so I stopped that. But it could be the case that it's not at all unwise to purchase other cryptocurrencies if it's purely because you understand that people are in this speculative frenzy and that market cycles repeat. And so, again, not financial advice, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people make a lot of money this next bull run. So what King Solomon is doing here perhaps could financially do well for him. Now, for me, I personally decided not to go this route. For me, it's purely which cryptocurrencies are getting used or will likely get used. And so for me right now, the answer here in 2020, it's still just XRP, baby. But that's it for this video. Thank you for stopping by. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy... Oh, shoot. I forgot to cover this piece here. I thought I had... Sorry, I didn't see I had one more tab here, and I almost wrapped up the video prematurely. Moon Lambo getting all premature. Let's not do that one. There's going to be a lot of jokes about that one. Bitcoin signal spreading across Reddit, reports crypto analytics firm. Chartstar, a crypto analytics firm, is mapping the number of times the word bullish is mentioned on Reddit related to the rising and falling price of Bitcoin. By analyzing the weekly closing price of Bitcoin in 2020, Chartstar finds the number of mentions of the word bullish shows a visual correlation with Bitcoin's price line through 6 out of 7 weeks. Chartstar only counted each Reddit comment once, so that a comment with multiple bullish mentions won't skew the results. In addition, when charting the number of overall comments on crypto subreddits in 2014 through 2019, the data indicates several significant price movements are preceded by a noticeable change in Reddit comment frequency. Those moments are circled in the chart below, and you can see that if you're not driving, feel free to take a look. But if you are driving motors, you keep your hands on the wheel at 10 and 2. Lest you become crashed into an animal like a fish. You don't want to do that. The analytics firm also created charts comparing the number of times Ethereum and Litecoin were mentioned across Reddit, finding that spikes in the number of mentions closely track the price action of the second and sixth largest coins by market cap. Now check this out, this is fun too. Chartstar also plotted mentions of Lambo in specific subreddits like r/Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, ETH Trader, Dogecoin, and so on and so forth, and a handful of others against the price of Bitcoin, showing the number of mentions displays a visual correlation to the price of Bitcoin. So if you just track how many people are talking about Lambos, perhaps you can draw a conclusion of what's going on here. So I just found it interesting. But now that's really it for this video. We have come to completion. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. So that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!